1990 NCAA champions.
There they are, ladies and gentlemen. Number one.
1991, they look like pros, they play like pros, and the charge against them is that they are pros.
The Koppel Tarkanian controversy. This is a Channel 13 News special report. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this Channel 13 News special report. I'm Brad Johansson, along with Steve Jackson. Last night, ABC's Ted Koppel and UNLV basketball coach Jerry Tarkanian verbally slugged it out on Nightline. The interview has been the talk of Las Vegas today, so we decided to bring that interview to you again today. Following the taped interview, we will take calls live for those of you who would like to voice your opinion on that interview, and we will provide the phone number for you in just a moment. Steve?
Well, before the interview last night, a Nightline report charged that Jerry Tarkanian's players are unqualified for college, that they receive cars, free meals, and tickets to boxing events. Now, here is the number for you to call at the end of the Koppel interview if you would like to speak out. That's 871-3233, 871-3233.
Koppel began the interview by asking Tark about what he does with the 223 basketball tickets he is given every year by the university. And here's how it looked last night.
Coach Jerry Tarkanian has the best win-loss record of any active coach in college basketball. His team for the past 18 years, UNLV, has now won 45 games in a row. Nevertheless, Tarkanian has been found guilty of violating NCAA regulations, and more charges are pending. Coach Tarkanian now joins us live from Indianapolis, where the Runnin' Rebels are preparing to take on Duke Saturday night in the NCAA semifinals. In the interest of full disclosure, Coach, I should admit to you I've got a daughter down at Duke, and I wouldn't mind seeing the Blue Devils take you on Saturday, but that's the end of that. You were smiling when I watched you during the piece, and Dave Marish was talking about the $18,000 worth of free meals and a couple of the other. Were you smiling because you've heard it all so often, or smiling because there's something you haven't been able to tell people about that?
Well, first of all, I think it's this, some of the comments, some of the things that are said just shows how little people know, and I really think that the media, before they write something, should do some research. First of all, we were let back in the tournament because I got an injunction because I didn't get a fair hearing. We weren't let back in the tournament because the NCAA wanted to make CBS happy, or they wanted to try to be fair or anything like that. Absolutely nothing to do with it. I got an injunction in 1977 because I went through what two judges called a kangaroo court. There was not one shred of evidence. Everything was hearsay. We had sworn affidavits, tape recordings, canceled checks, and everything was disregarded. And the NCAA made findings against me. So I did what any American would have done or should have done, is I went to court and got an injunction.
When you say, Coach, there wasn't a shred of evidence against you, the fact of the matter is UNLV cannot be covered by national television next year. It cannot be in the NCAA finals next year, because apparently there were some shreds of evidence.
There was absolutely no evidence of any kind. They arbitrarily made findings. And if anybody wanted to do the research, and this is what I would really suggest, I would love to see ABC, ESPN, CBS, anybody, go research my case from 1977. Because my case is a matter of court records. It's not my word against David Burse. It's not my word against somebody else. Mine is all a matter of court records.
David Burse is the NCAA investigator.
Right. Mine is all a matter of court records. Everything, there was depositions, there was the congressional hearings, everything that happened to me is in a courthouse record. So I would really encourage anyone to look at it. First of all, I did not get a fair hearing. It was 7 different judges determined that I did not get a fair hearing. Because I didn't get a fair hearing, I was able to get an injunction. Because I didn't get a fair hearing, my injunction stood for 13 years. Now, the fact that I didn't get a fair hearing, in July, the NCAA came back and punished the university because the Supreme Court said they don't have to give you a fair hearing.
Let me just, because I don't want to spend this whole program on going over every one of the items, but perhaps you would welcome the opportunity to address some of the more glaring omissions.
Well, I would just like to have someone do a real in-depth research.
No, I understand, but I can't think of a better way to begin than by asking you just straight out. You get, what, 223 season passes a year?
That's for the entire basketball program.
I understand, but they are given to you, and you have to account for 60 of them. What happens to the rest?
I could account for, I really don't have to account for any of them. It was part of my contract when I took the position in 1973. When I went to UNLV in 1973, they were averaging about 2,000 people a game. So the athletic director gave me X amount of tickets at my disposal.
Well, you certainly have to account to the IRS for what you do.
Oh, yeah, certainly I do. I count anything
you account
that
for
I
all
use,
of them to the IRS?
Anything that I use for my personal benefit, I account for the IRS.
Now, what about
and
if
I report that.
what about if it accrues to the benefit of the team? For example, the restaurant charge is that you gave 10 of those season tickets to the restaurant owner, who's a friend of yours, and he, in exchange for that, made, in effect, $18,000 worth of services available to the team, boosters, others who might want to come there.
That's totally inaccurate. The arrangement is a trade-off for the coaching staff at a restaurant. None of the players or none of the boosters. It's for the coaching staff at a restaurant. And it's totally inaccurate.
All right. Coach, what I'd like to do is take a break right now. And when we come back, I'd like to hear a little bit of your philosophy on what a university basketball coach, what his responsibility is to the kids. We'll continue in a moment.
When we come back, the conclusion of the Koppel-Tark interview. Later in the show, we will take your calls live, 871-3233. Back in a moment.
Joe Garagiola and Johnny Bench at Toyota's Big League Sales Event.
Earl Weaver's getting them ready to deal.
You, a customer comes in for option package savings up to $1,000. What do you say? Right. How about really big incentives on a truck? Camry, Corolla. Incentives on Celica?
We've never done that before.
This team is ready.
Don't miss Toyota's Big League Sales Event. We're really playing ball.
I like long moonlit rides on my Harley, quiet evenings, listening to heavy metal, and chowing down on these old-fashioned patty melts from Jack in the Box. There's nothing like relaxing with a patty melt while your woofers and tweeters are knocking the pictures off your walls.
The old-fashioned patty melt, a juicy burger, grilled onions, melting cheese on grilled rye at Jack in the Box.
I guess I'm just an old-fashioned girl.
Nearly 40,000 traffic accidents here in Nevada. Over 19,000 people injured. More than 300 have been killed. These are not mere statistics to me. They're people. They're clients. Their pain is real. Their suffering intense. Their financial loss is staggering. And they deserve justice. If you've been injured in an accident, give us a call.
Edward M. Bernstein and Associates, attorneys at law.
What a difference a day makes. 24 little hours.
C&R Express Tailoring. Pick out your clothes today, pick them up tomorrow.
What a difference a day makes. And the difference is you.
Express Tailoring, exclusively at C&R.
Welcome back now to this Channel 13 News Special Report. We continue now with our replay of the Nightline interview between Ted Koppel and UNLV head coach Jerry Tarkanian. Following the interview, we will take your calls live.
And we're back live with UNLV basketball coach Jerry Tarkanian. Coach, what responsibility do you think you and other Division I coaches around the country have to recruit not only the finest basketball players that you can possibly get, but also youngsters who at least stand an even chance of being able to survive in a college academic setting?
Well, I think, first of all, you have to determine who's going to decide whether they have an even chance or not. A great many people made it through college when people thought they didn't have any chance at all. So I think every youngster deserves an opportunity to better himself academically, athletically, or in any area that he chooses. And I think as a role of a coach, my position is to recruit the best players that I can, to mold them into a solid unit, to make them a very caring, a very unselfish group of individuals, get them to a point where they really care about each other, develop a lot of pride, not only in themselves, but in the university and in the community, to highly motivate these group of kids to do the very best that they can on the athletic field, to do the very best they can in the academic area, and to provide them with all the academic support that the university can possibly provide. And
Coach, no one
financially apply.
No one can argue with anything you've said, but one would assume that at least a basic prerequisite for a university student is going to be literacy. And when you bring in a kid, or try to bring in a kid like Lloyd Daniels, who was said to have a 3rd or 4th grade reading ability, the chances of a young man like that being able to make it as a college student are nil.
Well, first of all, Lloyd Daniels never played a game for UNLV, never took a shot, never practiced, was never on scholarship, has absolutely nothing to do with UNLV's success. But now, let me finish.
But Coach, no, hold on just 1 second.
Now, you brought me on here to talk. Let me finish.
I understand,
right, now
but you're addressing something that I didn't ask. You brought...
All right, now I'm going to address what you asked.
All right.
Now, let me finish. We brought Lloyd in. Lloyd's coaches called us, told us that Lloyd was not eligible to play his senior year in high school and was going to go to junior college. They told us that he was interested in UNLV, St. John's, and Syracuse, and all 3 schools were interested in him. Wanted to know if we could put Lloyd into a junior college, and we thought that would be great. We thought if we could bring Lloyd out, put him into a junior college, perhaps get him some reading specialists, get him some help academically, and then if he played junior college and played great, and didn't even graduate from junior college, he could go on into the pros because he was that good a player. If he did well enough in junior college, then he could come to the university and perhaps play 1 year for us, and again, do very, very well in the NBA. Well, we gave Lloyd an opportunity, the same opportunity many other kids have had, and Lloyd might have made it if he weren't involved in drugs. We had no knowledge he was involved in drugs. The minute that he got arrested in the crack house, the next morning at 11 o'clock at a press conference, we announced that Lloyd would never play for UNLV again.
The youngster couldn't even read when he came out there.
Well, I thought it was great that we were trying to get him into a junior college and get him reading specialists and get him all the help that we can and bring his reading level up.
Yeah, but my question to you, I guess, Coach, is if on the one hand you've got a brilliant basketball player who doesn't have a snowball's chance of becoming a university graduate because he's never even gotten an elementary school education, let alone a high school education, wouldn't it be better all around if you got a basketball player who was perhaps a shade less good, but who did have a chance at making it through college?
Well, 99% of our kids are like that. Lloyd was an unusual case. Lloyd was a great player who had no place to go. And we thought by putting him in junior college, if he played great in junior college, never did get his grades, the NBA would come and take him and he would make a good life for himself. So us recruiting Lloyd, or Lloyd recruiting us, there was a very, very small chance that he would ever play for the university, and we knew that. But we really felt that we could help the young man better himself and have a better life for himself. And I think, again, I think that's part of our job.
I guess, Coach, that's what I'm asking about. And not just, I'm asking you as perhaps the best coach in the country today to speak in behalf of a lot of your colleagues right now, too, with regard to what you perceive your general responsibility to be. If what we want is a bunch of in effect, semi-pros who are playing for the university, why pretend that they're even students, pay them $25,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a year? The universities are certainly making enough off these youngsters. Why even pretend that they're student athletes?
Well, first of all, Lloyd is an unusual case.
No, forget about Lloyd.
Forget Lloyd. Well, take the rest of our guys. All the rest of our guys are super kids. I wouldn't trade anybody on my team for the, and I'm not talking about the ability, the character of my team for anybody that's at any Ivy League school or Stanford or Notre Dame or anywhere else. We have the greatest group of kids any basketball team can possibly have, or any university can possibly have. And I'm talking character-wise. I'm not talking athletic ability-wise. And Lloyd was a mistake. Lloyd didn't turn out right. But Lloyd had nothing to do with the success of UNLV. He was an isolated case, and it amazes me how the media will jump on Lloyd's case and forget Larry Johnson, forget Armin Gilliam, forget all the guys that helped us win 599 games or however games we won.
No, I said about 2 minutes ago, let's set Lloyd aside for the moment, and I was asking you a question in behalf of college coaches around the country. Do you think that the level of competition, and most particularly the amount of money that television makes available, is so great now that you guys are put under unfair pressure just to bring in youngsters who may not be as well qualified to handle the academic side of it as they should be. Perhaps they shouldn't even be in college right now.
Well, but who determines whether a kid should go to college or not? You know, I referred to two youngsters who grew up in the same area that Lloyd did, Ricky Sobers and Walter Berry. All of them were not high school graduates. All of them went all from New York City. All went to junior college. Two of them made great lives for themselves, are very successful people today. They weren't involved in drugs. Who's to say where do you draw that line? I think every youngster should have an opportunity. Now, we have nothing to do with the admissions office. We have never gotten a kid in at the university who didn't qualify academically. So if we get a kid, and if he doesn't qualify, he goes to junior college. He gets his grades up. If he comes into the university, he must qualify as any other student must.
All right,
and
Coach.
We have no exceptions at our university.
On that note, let me thank you. Let me wish you good luck on Saturday, and I appreciate your being